What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sadiq.
And it's Lynette.
We're back with another video.
Welcome and welcome back, y'all. Alright, so you guys can probably already tell from the title, but today we're going to talk about 5 things that you might be doing that may be killing your marriage. So you guys probably have already seen, if you haven't, pause, go back to that video and watch the first video we did where we talked about 6 things we learned since we got married. So go back, watch that, and then come back here and watch this. But yeah, so in this video today, we're going to talk about just a few things that we've been able to identify in our relationship, in our marriage, and kind of talk about how we have come to learn how they can be detrimental to your relationship, especially if you're not, intentional as a couple about navigating those issues for the betterment of your marriage. So you ready to get into it, babe?
That's good.
Alright, the first thing I think we've identified, but the first thing that could be killing your marriage is that you have no structured communication in your marriage. And when I say no structured communication, what I mean is you're not being intentional about setting out time and space in your marriage to communicate openly and effectively. And that doesn't necessarily mean just like bursting out everything that's like in your mind or like going on like right away when it's happening, because that's kind of like just sporadic and kind of chaotic, honestly, if you really are like a firecracker of a person. Because like we've had like our own rips, right? And like when that has happened, we started realizing, okay, sometimes things just continually bubble up, and it's not always as easy as saying, oh, you need to communicate. Sometimes you need to put it on the calendar to communicate. Because I think once you get in the habit of doing it, it starts to become more natural and it becomes more of a flow, because you might have different like communication styles and you might not always approach communication the same way. But when you prioritize it and like you make space for it, regardless of how either of you are feeling, you understand this is important, we need to come together, we need to talk it out. And that's a game changer. Personally for us, like what did we do? Because this was actually your idea for us to add this structure.
Yeah, what we actually did was every day after I get off of work or she get off of work, we just have a 30-minute sit down and ask how each other is doing. Like what percentage are we? Like let's just say she's like 65% and she's feeling like, she's overwhelmed with work, or she, something irritated her, instead of me just coming home from work and not talking to her about it, we actually sit down and I have that conversation. Yeah, we have that conversation, and instead of me waiting and prolonging whatever she is feeling, because I don't know, we come and sit down and discuss it. So we can get an understanding of and get a gauge of how each other is feeling.
And vice versa too, because sometimes when he's gone at work all day and I work from home, sometimes I'm ready to just pounce on him, not literally, but like just hit him with like a lot of information, and I want to tell him about my day, I want to tell him about certain things, and I haven't even stopped to think, okay, well, how is he feeling mentally, physically, what battery percentage is he at? And I think when we do that, we kind of set the tone for what to expect from our interactions going forward for the day, so that way if he gets a different response from me, or I get a different kind of like response from what I expected from him, we're not offended by it because we understand where each other's are.
Yeah, and we're not blindsided,
right,
by just whatever happened. Not pursuing each other. Yeah, there are times where we get so consumed with work or our goals and whatever we need to do during the week or the year, that we just neglect each other from actually pursuing each other. So and it can really damage the relationship, because it's pretty sure you felt like I don't love you as much, or
I think like what happens is that when you're in a relationship for so long, you start to kind of get comfortable. You know what I mean? And I feel like because of that comfort, you start to think you don't have to like go as hard as you did in the beginning. like in the beginning you were dating because you were trying to get this person. It's like now that you have them and you see them every day, it's kind of like, well, why do I still need to do all of that? And it's not necessarily saying that you're a bad person because you felt like that. You just grew accustomed. You just grew comfortable. And it's not like, I don't want to say, okay, you're bad because of that. It's kind of like, all right, you identified the issue. You identified that you got comfortable. Now, like, what are we going to do about it? You know? So like something we've decided to do now is that we intentionally carve out, like every other weekend, we have date night now.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing. We put aside a budget for it. We put a day and we alternate who initiates date night on either weekend. So one weekend it'll be me, it'll be entirely my idea, and then we'll go out and we'll have fun. And then another weekend is his idea, and we'll go out and we'll have fun. And that has been a game changer, like a game changer for our marriage. It has brought back a little bit of livelihood and fun and excitement.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes things feel more fresh and brand new.
And it gives me the opportunity to be creative to how to love my wife.
Yeah.
You know, it just gives you an opportunity to get in that creative side and do the most, you know, because they want the most.
I don't think it's fair to say I want the most. I don't want the most.
No.
But I like going out every now and again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not.
Just, I say, fellas, man, take your woman out, man. If she says it's fine, no, it's not fine. You know, they want to be taken out, they want to be wined and dined, you know, to make them feel special, you know.
But not only that, you like to be treated too. I feel like guys don't like to admit that they like to be treated. Like, they like being taken out and shown a good time because you be feeling yourself. So it ain't just me. Like, I feel like it's easy for y'all to say y'all don't care about it, but then when it actually happens, you're like pleasantly surprised and you're like, okay, I kind of like that. That was nice. Like, I'm not used to being taken out and treated and da-da-da. So it goes both ways and it benefits both of you. So definitely, you know. So the third thing I want to say that is probably killing your marriage is the two of you are not considering how you individually receive love. And I can go down the rabbit hole of talking about like love languages, but I'm not going to do that because that's not the purpose of this video. But if you understand the concept of love languages and you understand where I'm going with this, because when I say this, I kind of mean like we had a realization not that long ago where we had gone a long time without truly communicating how we felt, and it started to feel like we were neglecting what each other wanted out of the relationship and neglecting how we care for each other in a way. So it started to feel like, or it started to make me feel like, okay, I'm not sure if he still loves me in the same way or the same capacity in which he used to, because his mannerisms seem to be different or have shifted, and I'm not openly communicating about it when I should have. I kind of like kept bottling in and not bringing it up because I didn't want to make it seem like I was just being dramatic and you know, just talking about things that may not need to be talked about. And that feeling just kept growing on the inside. And in the reverse, he was also feeling like, hey, maybe she doesn't respect me in the way that he wants to be respected. And in my mind, I'm not thinking I wasn't respecting him, but I felt like, oh, he doesn't love me, so what does it matter how I feel about this or what I say about this? Because it's almost kind of like, well, if I feel like I'm not loved, then what's the point?
So what we caught up in was just a cycle of just neglection from whatever we needed to receive
from each other. And instead of kind of focusing on how we can be better individuals to each other, we were kind of more so focusing on what we weren't giving each other. And what we projected outward was a result of having that lack of what we needed. I feel like that's a fair way to communicate it. So I feel like once we had a conversation and we actually identified that to each other, and I kind of made it known to him, like, yo, I feel this way. I feel like you were kind of surprised by that when I said it. And then you told me you felt this way. And I was kind of surprised because I was like, I didn't feel like I was, but I think we were so consumed with how we individually felt, we didn't realize that what we projected was giving that off to the person. So,
and it's crazy because if we didn't have that conversation,
yeah,
you know, we would have just been in a constant downward spiral.
And honestly, I think that's how like divorce and
Yeah.
things like that come up, because I feel like we were both in such a heightened emotional state too when we like came to the point of having that conversation. It really made me feel like, dang, is this how people like really get to this place of divorce? And I realized it can be fixed.
Yeah.
It definitely can be fixed, but if you're not willing to take that higher road, put your pride aside, let your mother, you know what I mean?
Pride and that ego.
You know what I mean? Like really put your pride aside, because if you don't, girl, like it was over before it even begun. You know what I mean? Which is crazy, because that's about to be a whole other video. I ain't even gonna stop with you, but like it felt like it was over before it. Your relationship can feel like it's over before it really begins, because you haven't even really truly given each other all of yourselves and truly been 100% vulnerable with each other. So that therefore you never were really together 100%. So before you even got there, it was over, because you didn't even take the chance to go that extra mile and that step for that person. So yeah, a little bit of a spiel, but yeah, that part. That actually kind of segues us into our next point, which is not being vulnerable.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, babe?
Yeah, I'll say not being vulnerable, just it robs my wife from having an opportunity to support me.
Yeah.
You know, in whatever I'm going through. You know, because your wife is there to be your helping. And if you're not being open and honest and transparent about how you're feeling or whatever you're going through, you don't give your wife the chance to help, you know. So vulnerability is definitely key. It opens yourself up, you know, from being angry all the time, you know, and really relaxes you, because now you have a person that you can share your feelings with, you know.
No, I agree with that too, and it's not just you two. I feel like even I have issues with being fully vulnerable, even though I'm like I guess you could say I'm kind of the softer one, a more emotional one between the two of us, but I still find myself struggling with being vulnerability, because I easily associated vulnerability with being taken advantage of. So I always would kind of connect the two and feel like if I'm being vulnerable, I'm opening up space or room for someone to basically, what's the word? Yeah, like use me, like basically use that to their advantage. And be manipulative or whatnot. So like I always would kind of like just hesitate or shelter myself or use some type of defense mechanism so I don't have to feel that way, because it's almost like you're kind of saying I don't fully trust you with my vulnerability, so I'll put up a wall instead than give that to you, kind of a thing. But we're both learning to hash those walls down.
Yes.
Get in there. So the last one we have is not setting clear boundaries and expectations. Now, this needs to go all the way back to like the beginning of your relationship, like from the jump.
Yeah.
From the jump, I think you need to set your expectations.
Yes.
Offer it. Like when you're in that dating phase, when you're in that courting phase, you need to be as clear as day about what your expectations are for this relationship. Therefore, there ain't gonna be no room for miscommunication when you do that. You feel me? Because I feel like, and even then, as you grow together and you're together, you need to reiterate or communicate when those expectations change. Therefore, you're keeping each other on the same page. You know what I mean? And not only that, but also set boundaries. I think I've come to realize how healthy and important it is to set boundaries in your relationship, because neither of us really had boundaries in the beginning of this relationship. And I think, excuse me, but I think that it took a toll on our relationship, and I feel like it took a toll because we
just had an unfiltered expectation or filtered.
Yeah, but it's kind of like when we didn't set those clear boundaries with each other, when things went wrong, it was almost like either of us became like a garbage disposal, like a dump, and we just dumped all of our emotions and feelings connected to that unidentified boundary or expectation on each other.
Yeah.
And that ultimately had a negative impact on how we interacted with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for example, like in the beginning of our relationship, you were dealing with some mental issues, right? You were kind of working your way through like some depression and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was able to identify down the road that I didn't set clear enough boundaries that I had for myself because I was so consumed with making sure you were good. I didn't set boundaries to make sure that I was good. And I felt like I neglected myself so much to the point that now I wasn't in a good mental space.
Right. So once I overcame that,
yeah,
you know, whatever I was dealing with at the time, she was still dealing with what baggage or whatever she was helping me with at that time.
Yeah, like the effects of it.
And I had no clue until something happened and it all just came out, you know?
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be like that.
No.
You know?
No. We were just in a different space at the time, and like it's good to know that we can identify that now and realize, okay, that was a miss for both of us. And now I'm more vocal with communicating, okay, this is a boundary for me, like I'm not okay with this, so this is where I draw the line, and that's not it. And same with you, like, because there's different types of boundaries. Like you're working on side projects and things, and me being like the nurturer and helper I am, I instantly just want to attach, I don't want to say I want to attach myself, but I want to help you. And when I feel like you're struggling with something, I want to help. And you communicated to me like, hey, as much as I love your help, in this space in my life, I don't need your help. In this space, I just need you to be my wife. And I need somebody else to be that help or that mentor or that coach or that partner, co-worker, whatever. And as much as that kind of stung, I was like, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. That's a boundary you had. You wanted me to be me in all of these other areas in your life, but in this specific area, you needed me to give some distance and give you some breathing room. And that's fair. That's a healthy and clear boundary. So yeah. that's basically everything. Yeah, so I mean, you guys let me know what you guys thought about this video. Well, let us know what you thought about this video. Comment down below which one of these points you feel are a major pain point for you in your relationship. We really want to know and get some of your feedback and any advice that you guys have too for things that you felt were like a game changer in your marriage or your relationship, whatever. I mean, we're talking to couples all together around here because this is very, you know, relatable in a lot of aspects of your life. So,
but once you like start with this and just lay the foundation of your relationship, you know, you're off to a great start. You know, you won't have to go through it as much, you know, and you can weed out the possibility that might not be a good opportunity for you. You know?
And I know things can seem difficult, but y'all gotta also remember, all things are possible through Christ. All things, okay? All things. So relationships are hard, but no one said they were gonna be easy. You know, so keep that in consideration. And we gave you guys great pointers, but at the end of the day, when you feel like nothing else is working, God is working. So if nothing we said helped, try that. Try Jesus first. But no, like for real, on a serious note, we really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more like this, let us know in the comment section down below. Give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Until then, peace.
See ya.